think you're crazy. Maybe I think you're crazy. Stop sending letters when letters always get burned. It's not like the movie, and they focus on little white lies. I think you're crazy. Maybe I think you're crazy. Maybe beautiful angels torn apart and endless and lifeless. I hardly recognize you. I think you're crazy. Maybe I think you're crazy. Maybe I will see you in the next nothing unusual, nothing strange, close to nothing at all. Same old scenario, the same old rain, and there's no explosions here. Something unusual, something strange, comes from nothing at all. I saw a spaceship outside your window. Did you see it disappear? Hey, come sound my wall and read me the story of old. Like you still believe that the end of the century is a place for you and me. unusual, nothing strange, just a little older, that's all. You know when you find it, that's something I've learned, 'cause you feel it when they take it away. Hey, 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 something unusual, something strange, comes from nothing at all. I'm not a miracle, you're not a saint, just another soldier on the road to nowhere. And we sit on my wall and read me the story of old. Never like you still believe that the end of the century is a place for you and me. Nothing unusual, nothing strange, close to nothing at all. When you find it, that's something I've learned, 'cause you feel it when they take it away. Hey, 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 something unusual, something strange, comes from nothing at all. I am a miracle, you are a saint, not just another soldier on the road to nowhere. Maybe sit on my wall and read me the story of old. Tell her like you still believe that the end of the century is a place for you and me. Maybe come sit on my wall, read me the story of old. Tell it like you still believe that the end of the century is a place for you and me. I was lost in France, in the fields the birds were singing. I was lost in France, and the day was just beginning. As I stood there in the morning, I had a feeling that I can't explain. I was lost in France and love. I was lost in France, and the streets, the bands were lit, and the crowd all danced. Didn't catch what they were saying. When I looked up, she was standing there. I knew I should, but I didn't care. I was lost in France and love. Loud, 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 loud dance. Loud, loud dance. Loud, 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 loud dance. Loud, loud dance. Loud, 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 loud dance. Loud, loud dance. I was lost in France, and the vines were overflowing. I was lost in France, and the melting stars were glowing. When I looked around for a telephone to say, baby, I won't be home. I was lost in France and love. Loud, loud, loud dance. Loud, loud dance. Loud, 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 loud dance. Loud, loud dance. Loud, 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 loud dance. Loud, loud dance. When I looked around for a telephone to say, baby, I won't be home. I was lost in France, and I was lost in France, and I was lost in France and love. Greetings, friends. Hello, my friends. How are you doing? Well, I bet you not too many of you have heard that song, and I'm betting even fewer still have heard that version of it because, well, how often have you heard the song first of all, and how often have you heard it with harmonica as well? Yeah, how are you doing, everyone? Just I should think a brief enough show tonight and sort of load this month on StreamYard credit. You get 20 hours a week, and or not a week, 20 hours a week, 20 hours a month, and after that, then you have to pay for it. So it's okay. I'm happy enough with that. I mean, generally at this stage, everything is sort of repeat anyway, even though there's nothing. Um, well, everything is new in a sense, and then nothing is new at the same time. But everything I have talked about, pretty much, I've talked about before at length. I know there's only a small, what do you call it, an audience or not here, but yeah, it is what it is. I'm not out for, um, numbers. I might see in chat, someone said 666 subscribers, Shay Dodo channel. very interesting, and it has been there a few times because, of course, it's been over that and it's been under that, and if it's that way around this time, well, maybe it's for a reason. What does 666 mean to you? Yeah, what does it mean to? Well, I was actually now that you mention that, I was actually asked the question tonight. What is six? Why is the number six represented by the letters SIX? And if you break it down, that's a different story. I don't want to get too specific about anything like that. Herein lies all of our greatest clues, anyway, our most accessible clues. Just the basic formations of all of the different languages that we speak. And we think in pictures as well. So this is why the television is so influential. We have to, yeah, before I sort of get into it, we have to understand somewhat, we have to get a greater context as the individual, as a living man or woman, the highest authority, the divine expression. Here, we're having this experience, we have to come to understand the greater context. And that can come a few ways, I guess. Revelation. Most of all, it has to come by, I guess, gathering, accumulation of knowledge or information. And if we have a greater context, once we come to a certain point, and this point particularly, right, 20 years post, I guess 20, internet is 21 years. You could say the internet is pretty much 21 years, took off after 9/11. And that was very specifically planned as well. If I think back to it, not to dwell on any of this sort of stuff, any particular issue or area I talk about, I could dwell on for 2 hours. When I think back of it, I was surprised that America have always been years ahead of Ireland here. And when it came to mobile phone technology, they were years behind. We had mobile phones here, whatever, maybe 97, 98, really started to kick off. But they weren't available in America at the time. It was only post 9/11 that this technology was, well, let loose. 9/11 being, well, a pivotal point and sort of central in this release, I guess. There was too much technology in and around New York on the day of 9/11. Well, the hoax, the presentation, the magic trick couldn't have been pulled off. But that's a different matter. Even talking about that, I haven't spoken to my sister in my beautiful sister Suzanne in ever any problems ever never never. But when I told her about 9/11 being a hoax, that was it. That's it. You're labeled crazy, and I guess this is the power of words. This is the power of information, and yeah, what are you to do there? What are you to do there? I don't know what you're to do. You can't. It's not that you can't compromise. Of course, you can compromise, but any tale takes time in the telling. And if you're dealing with somebody who has no interest in the tale, or maybe the alternative tale, well, then you're wasting your tale, and you should hightail it out of there. Another expression I had earlier on was the devil is in the detail. The detail, you take the tail away. Where's our tails? Where's my tail gone? Who took my tail and my wings? That's what I want to know. I know I'm of the creator. I'm of, for want of a better term, God. Well, I don't think of a man in the clouds anymore, so I can use that term easily when I say God. I'll to get down to the basics, I have to speak more and more in basic terms and basic sort of consideration. Down to the basics, the books that are handed to us, the Bible, works of Shakespeare, I say Alice in Wonderland, Alice Through the Looking Glass as well, are all ultimately instructive. That's what it's about. All these books are about you. It's about you, your reality, all the basic questions you have regarding your existence, the how, the what, the where, the why, etc. These are all instruction manuals, I guess, to sort of help you along. When we come to understand that life is fundamentally a lie, it's contained within the word. We're told it as well. As children, we're sang to it. It's ingrained in us from the very earliest. I'm speaking in English-speaking terms as well. But be a rockabye baby on the treetop. When the wind blows, the cradle will rock. When the bough breaks, the cradle will fall. Down will come cradle, baby, and all. As the tree of life fell, friends, and we're told that in more overt terms in some biblical extra canonical reference. You know, well, we were always meant to. How do we come to know about these things? How did the how did the Dead Sea Scrolls come to exactly justify what writings from 2,000 years prior to their finding? Yeah, because what we live in a different, we live in well, life lies within the word life, and it's an experience here, and yeah, it's getting the context right that well we can get the mind, the heart, and well the third aspect, which is well the grounded aspect, the generative aspect, what keeps us in this material form, well, which is the material heart of us. So that's the threefold division within us. What do we do with this information, this knowledge? Well, for me, um, this was all about this was all about you're my fellow man. I love you as my fellow man. We're in the same boat. If I didn't love you, in a general sense, of course, if you want to get specific, there's loads of shit happening, and there's loads of reasons you don't need to like somebody or whatever. But in general, and I mentioned this so many times as well. Who's going to deny the wondrous, miraculous nature of a wonderful child? We're not. So when you see someone sinning, when you see someone in the worst of possible circumstances or representations, maybe see through, maybe we can see through, to that core, um, that core aspect that is shared by all of us. And, this is once again all about the context of our thinking, which, well, as flat earthers, how many friends have you lost? How many friends have you lost from all of this? If you're not alone and completely isolated at this stage, well, you've been doing something wrong, because no one could possibly understand the story that you have to tell, the revised story. How many people are you going to lose immediately when you talk about, well, flat Earth is one of them, 9/11 hoaxery, or just an alternative impression of our reality, which is easily accessible. I think the information that I've come by, outside of my brain or my being, sort of piecing different pieces together and having that proper, simpler context, yeah, there's no great mental gymnastics involved, and rightly so, I should think. Rightly so, because well, whose story is it, other than your own story? Uh, yeah, I hope those songs went down okay. Let me have a quick drink. No, um, yeah. Well, the first song I sang was, hang on, what was it? Oh, chorus. What am I thinking of? What am I thinking of? Chorus. Only the most significant song in history ever written. Hmm. So I hope that cover came across okay. Now I've been looking at, and because suggestions have been coming up as well, and just people who have covered the song in the sort of official chord. So I wasn't going by that there, but I think it came across pretty good. And um, yeah, I would have made the higher notes at the end easier anyway. I think I almost made them, if not made them, but if I was singing louder. And it's what time is it now? Coming up on 22:12 on the 8th of June. That's 12 p.m. Yeah, well, it turns to AM, right? Anyway, yeah, motion picture soundtrack. Talking about 9/11, that's the soundtrack to the movie that was presented, and you believed was, and I believed, of course, was happening in reality. We were seeing live images. It's only later on when you find a devil in the clouds of the smoke after the second crash that you come to realize, hang on, something else going on here. And should you take the bull by the horns, that will lead you elsewhere again. But you first of all have to sort of activate, I guess, which you were always meant to do. If you paid attention, I guess you always have to ask the question first of all. Every question you ask, there's an answer awaiting every single question. Why? Well, because you were the one player in all of this. Everything revolves around you. Everything revolves around you. When you come to greater considerations, this is the male-female divide in a sense, in a general sense, and I think that's all transformed now. It's interesting actually when you think about games like chess and why women are not up there on a sort of a permanent level by averages they should be. Is there an ultimate distinction then between the male and female brain? And not to say that chess is in itself anything significant, because it isn't. It's just a mental practice, and there's so many things that require mental practice. If you think about the best players in the world, they've been playing chess since they've probably been 2 years of age, before they could, I don't know, yeah, before the whatever, before they could use the toilet themselves, they were probably playing chess. I'm not saying that in a derogatory way, but you can understand that anybody exercising sort of a focused intent at anything, are you going to deny anybody that the capabilities are there? But yeah, it's interesting that when it comes to these mental um, applications, well, not to get into what a good chess player, what the mind of a good chess player entails, but yeah, there seems to be a divide, and I think it's a fair enough divide as well, because ultimately we are that divide. We express as that divide, male and female aspect to the one thing that's been divided. In the biblical sense, we're given 6,000 years. This is the beginning, the origin of man. In an evolutionary scientific sense, we're given, of course, millions, billions of years. Does the truth lie somewhere in between, or somewhere much, much more closer, up closer and personal for our own lives and our own experiences? That extends back as far as, well, you've been around here, you ventured into here. For me, it's 49 this year. Would you believe it? All the sevens, seven times seven. Here we are in the year 21. 21st year of the 21st century, and coming soon is the 21st of June, which is the summer solstice, which is exactly 6 months after the um, conjunction of Saturn and Jupiter, a conjunction that hadn't happened in 2,000 years, and was equated with the Star of Bethlehem. So exactly 6 months later, a year later, sorry, half a year later, and if we think in terms of, well, location within the year, which time are you happier? Which time are you more joyful? The dead of winter, winter or right in the height of summer. And that's what June 21st represents. So the summer solstice will be the 21st solstice of the 21st year, obviously, of the 21st century. So all the sevens coming into play. I guess, as I was talking earlier on about basic sort of communication, basic concepts, basic symbols, all the numbers and all the letters of the basic structural form attached to them, which represents or manifests, right, a greater truth. And that truth is, well, ultimately connected to you. It's your truth. So, yeah, so where are you at with that? Where are you at with that? Excellent, man. So yeah, I'll just say hello in chat. Evan, I'll put the link in chat if you understand. I'll probably stay on, and I go stay on too long because I don't have too much time. I think of about maybe 3.5 hours for this month. So maybe if I stay on for an hour and a half tonight or something like that, and 2 hours next night. There's a link in chat if anyone fancies the chat. But cheers, man. I mean, I haven't put yeah. Expression. What's the purpose? What do you strive for? I'm on IPS's forum, and the amount of work that's going into everything that they put out is unbelievable. It's a sort of communal group effort as well. And I know Tim Osmond is. I don't mind putting him out there as probably one of the most famous men on earth at this stage, considering the arena that we're in. Because there's a greater game in play. He actually released a book recently called the Metascript, and I've been talking about the Metascript for, in other terms, the greater script, well, for a long time now. But yeah, if we think about the greater arena, Get one of these babies rolled here and not cause my mother any trouble. Yeah, it's full of actors. It's full of actors, and here's where the sort of the mental aspect comes into it. What does it matter? Well, it might matter nothing to many, but it might matter ultimately to some. You know, and ultimately, yeah, when it comes to asking the basic questions, the who, the what, the where, the when, the why we are the answers already always around us? That's the question you're going to ask. If you don't ask the question at all, well, you're going to be a far cry from me, in a sense, who, well, not to say that I'm anything, but who has asked certain questions and who has followed certain pathways. There's nothing new, nothing new. That'll be a famous T-shirt, a big picture of Aristarchus, and at the top, no thing. So separate, nothing, no thing new under Aristarchus, and I'm under Aristarchus at the bottom, because there isn't. So that, yeah, gives a context for, well, we were facilitated. We were facilitated, first of all, by the internet, where no longer now had you to adhere to the fixed sort of programming of the television stations or channels or the radio, etc. Now you can sort of make up your own mind. And then when YouTube came along, YouTube was very significant. You know, the thumbs up and the thumbs down. This is all stressed for your benefit. And I pointed out many times, there's many things I've pointed out that no one else has pointed out. On Earth, on Earth. What am I supposed to do with that? I've just been following the clues. I've been asking the questions. But if you look down on your keyboard and find the word thumb, can you find it? Can you find it? Have a look there while I just have a cigarette before my mother closes the windows. Yeah. Yeah, that's pretend one more cigarette and that's the last So just have a look at your keyboard. Have a look at your keyboard, and can you find thumb on your keyboard? And what does it sort of formulate in a general sense? See, all of these clues are before our eyes, but yeah, we don't have the eyes. Right, that's that's that out of the way. Wonderful green sky outside tonight again. As usual, it's consistent aspect, so it's a consistent energy that is what causing it, the ultimate cause of it. Ether has been killed, but if ether does exist, well, where does that leave all of science? All of it. Where does it leave it? I know ether exists. I know exactly how, and I know why it exists. And your own sky will tell you why as well if you've been paying attention. First of all, your local clouds form in circular patterns. There's a repeating pattern to it. This is what the uh, Ouroboros is about. And on Nathan Oakley's show earlier on today, someone was pointing out about the Norse mythology representation of the I posted this on my channel ages ago, years ago. Aristarchus is ultimately Yggdrasil, which is Mount Meru. It's all the same thing. And Aristarchus itself is an expression of, well, its central peak, which I'm not going to go into that. I could bring up a picture of that. And it's the sperm. Ultimately, it's the sperm. And the greater crater itself is the egg. So it's the egg and the sperm coming together and magic happening. And then our reality expresses. But you should be, that's the alarm going off in the background. My mother still thinks there's burglars lurking everywhere. So there's a necessity to put on the alarm extremely early, just as a deterrent. That's okay, though. As I said, the front windows, none of them are alarmed. I was a smart burglar doing my research, and well, that's where I'd be focusing my intent. I meant to say the last time on the last show, the very reason I started off the conversation was to talk about not a claim to fame as such, you can call it that, but it probably is. It probably my biggest claim to fame, which was graduating from the University of Limerick with the lowest possible mark in the history of the university. So it just shows you, I think my heart wasn't in it. From early doors, I realized that this is just about, I'm not summating it, but look, ultimately to do well in university, I never cheated, I never did anything like that. And I know, of course, we know people cheated, but yeah, the smart people knew that it was just a matter of sort of absorb and repeat. And they crammed it. They did the past research papers, and they didn't need to understand anything; just needed to repeat it. Whereas, yeah, and get the sufficient marks. Whereas I couldn't be bothered either way. I think I started to be bothered at the start, and I sort of lost interest because I realized probably innately that was the nature of it. I can imagine myself going back to the university now asking some even basic questions for me, and you'd be shunned straight away. I was actually talking to Ardahard, who's a German. He's a very interesting man, and he's beautiful children, Emilia and Conrad, and he has another child, and he's another child on the way. And he's 38, and he's a professor in maths in the university outside. So he's also a Christian, which has him standing out from the many faculty. But yeah, when it comes to flat Earth, very interesting. And I think everything for a reason as well, because I've been in my own mind, in my own sort of pathway here, reducing everything down more and more, and ultimately getting to three things, I guess. You have the line, you have the circle, but ultimately one thing, which is the point. Which is the point. What is a line without, well, a duplication of points? You can't just have one point for a line because then it would just be a point. So what is a circle without what? A line and a point. So yeah, in these basic sort of ways of thinking, relationships, I guess we can formulate. Um, yeah, yeah, when it comes to flat Earth, and why he isn't taking it seriously, I constantly pressure him. I don't see him very often, and I don't know him very well as well, but constantly pressure him. So, honey, you have beautiful children here, and what are you going to do? I mean, if it's not true and you're teaching them an untruth, won't you kick yourself later on? That sort of thing. But he hasn't got quite around to that yet. But yeah, you're not going to fit in these environments. Where are you actually going to fit in? Just being yourself, just expressing your own sort of thoughts on opposing or alternative thoughts on what the what would you call it? The fabric of reality, the fabric of, well, inverted commas, nature. There's not too many people talking about the unnatural state that all is in. And I think why, I think I know why as well. It was like when I came by the significance of the dodo bird for the first time, Delacroix as well. And give credit to Delacroix. He might have got it a second, maybe a couple of seconds, microsecond even before, but pretty much the same time it occurred to us that, man, that's why the dodo bird was taught to us in school, to keep us in it, keep it in our consciousness, and it only made sense when you come to flat Earth, and well, yeah, you start thinking in different terms. But I'm the only one who's taken it to fruition, and well, I would say fruition. I would say all the way to fruition, not all the way. I can't know everything, every aspect about it, but ultimately, yeah, it's the dodo bird is. So what's cartoon is more reflective of reality than news or other um, similar outlets. When we look to mythology, we look children's stories, etc., there's more truth encoded within them. And as I brought up the last night on the end of the last hangout with the 2015 Economist magazine, therein, when we understand this, the puppetry that's going on before us with all the world leaders and the greater symbolic significance of the cartoon characters that are presented, the greater truth, if you want. Well, then we saw that the turtle was missing his payload. We found the elephant, so what could be missing but the disc itself? And what is the disc? What's the best way of representing the disc? It's the layout of the land. The layout of the land. It's the map of the land. And well, what's the solution to the hidden puzzle? The dodo bird and Aristarchus. So, you know, getting to that sort of level, getting to that layer, everything will make sense then. You know what I mean? Everything has to make sense. Everything has to sort of fit together. In I understand it's not just my own, it is my own personal journey or my own personal picture in terms of anyone else. And I don't know anyone else who's talking about the dodo bird in the sense that I am on this plane, I guess. But when we came to realize the significance, I realized that if there were so many actors in this arena, if there were so many players, playing roles, they couldn't touch whatever truth they were in possession of. They couldn't touch some of these greater upper tier, I guess, considerations. And once again, the dodo only makes sense when you come to flat Earth. So understanding the dodo bird didn't exist, that's another massive leap for so many people. The minute you say that, and you're just doubting their reality. And well, the moment is lost, then the now is lost because you're judged by something you have to say. And crazy as it seems, well, who's to say it might not just be true? Who's to say what is true indeed, right? I was looking at the television briefly earlier on, and there's a friendly, it's not even a fucking official Irish game, but it's a friendly Irish game against Hungary. So you have all the Hungary travellers coming over from, I wonder where all the Hungary, where did the Hungary football team come from again? What country are they part of? I'm not sure. Maybe North Africa somewhere. Anyway, they're all travelling over, and well, you have all the Irish fans travelling again. Uh, Everyone, it's like Corona was never here. No masks. My mother assures me that they're all vaccinated. They're all checked beforehand. What is it? You know, I mean, I guess maybe you have to give some sort of sign of when you're buying the tickets online. This is what maybe the shutdown was about as well. Get everyone online. When you think about it, nice plan, wasn't it? Because, now you have families separated and you have internet access everywhere. And I think there was a policy. I'm sure if you had a computer, you get a free computer just to get you online. So there's a greater plan rolling out. It seems like it's an obvious plan anyway, but I don't like to think in those terms. There's different powers in play here. If this was all, well, we are in the material realm, right? We are in the material realm where we have all these material temptations surrounding us. How do we overcome that? What if you're not into all of these material? Where's the way out? I guess you got to figure it out yourself. I can only see two ways out. There has to be a resolution to this. There has to be, and it has to be after all these years. 2014, isn't it funny? 2014, which is the last time I saw my beautiful Steve. Pretty much I saw 1 year after that, but outside of that, yeah, that's 7 years ago, and here we are in 2021. All the sevens. Um, what does seven mean? Well, yeah, it's an interesting topic, and I'm thinking about it and talking about the basic concepts and notions. The distinction between one number and its adjacent number. One is odd and one is even. So why are the letters ODD chosen for odd? And remember ODD TV, a prominent flat earther, with many excellent videos and excellent, rebuttals to any idea of the spinning careering ball Earth, laid before, laid bare. Yeah, I mean that's dead in the water immediately. Right? If upon due consideration, with honest sort of mindset, you don't become a flat stationary earther of some form anyway in quick time. Well, then you just don't care enough. Then you just don't care enough, and it's not that you don't care about anyone else. You don't care about yourself enough. You don't care about yourself enough. That's all, and that's not your fault either. It's just the way we've been brought up. That's just the circumstances we've been put into. But remember this: you can always come out of it. You can come out of it in an instant, in one instant, just by changing your mind, just by asking a question, and when you do that, then where does that lead? That's the beauty of life. The future is uncertain, right? The future is unset, or is it? Or is it? Um, that is the question. Well, it's not to be or not to be is the question. That's the question we're left with from the works of Shakespeare, from the Bible. We're left to work. We're left to work out the answer to the question: why is 666 or potentially 616, right? The number of man and the beast. So we got to work that out. And it's seemingly, when you think about the letters B, capital B, and six itself, right? And one, six and one, you can see how there might be an interrelationship there between them. And as I've talked many times about, everything is based on the H and the O, all the letters. And because that represents our form, our divided state. First of all, we are divided from the female. You stand back to back with your counterpart. And when I say we, males and females that are opposing, so we stand back to back, sort of amalgamate the two. Well, that's the one now. So we've been divided into two. So we were one, we were odd, and then we became even. When you think of the letter seven, so here we are in all the seven. Seven is S even. Big clue for us to tell you about the letter S and what it represents. Think of a word like ever. I'm repeating stuff, but what I call it makes the point. Think of a word like ever and sever. Right. So sever has this sort of dividing aspect to it, or S has the letter S has this dividing aspect to it. And when we think about it as an S divided, many times S and S is 8. Just depends on how you connect them. Yeah. So all of these can come into bearing. But yeah, SEVEN, very interesting, isn't it? It's very interesting. I'm not going to expand my thoughts on that too much because, well, I was going to say I'd get off on a tangent, but I have no particular line to go off. It's too specific, though. It's too specific. But it's along these lines I think we have to consider. We have to sort of think, because like a child, like children, we have to become and ask and attempt to answer the basic questions. Otherwise, you get lost. Otherwise, you get lost in specificity, and that's what it's all about, isn't it? These days, is being specific in being an expert in certain areas. No experts around. Come on, it's just experience. And when it comes to the greater stage here, all of the great look. When you want the truth or not, you choose to wake up or not. All the great giants of science were all fake. They're all fabricated characters. It's all theater. That doesn't mean your neighbor who works in the science department of the local university is fake. No, it's not. But they work under a certain sort of restriction and yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, it's fucking must be difficult. It must be fucking so difficult. Everyone has the fucking internet. I mean, moon landings. I mean, the first time you hear about the moon landings, being possibly a hoax, okay, you're going to brush it off. You're going to be shocked, and you're going to be like, how could that's too much to do. But then when you look into it, before you know it, like with 9/11 or like with Princess Diana, before you know it, you're coming out on the side of it all being fake, right? And that's fair enough because, it's pretty obvious. You always meant to, that's the way it was written. All of these different affairs could have been produced in a much more convincing manner. And the errors are deliberate errors. And all of the script is loaded with clues. What clues? Well, don't ask me. Ask yourself. What clues? Go and ask. Go and try and work it out. But get the context right. And the context is always the child's question. Who am I? Where am I? What am I? When am I? That's the context. So the greater story is being told, and I think throughout all of these different, presentations, offerings, well, our greater truth is expressed and transmitted. We just have to develop, the senses and the sense, to make our way there. But yeah, Emerald Rider says inner standing. That's the way to. What are you going to do with that, though? Then what are you going to do with that? You become totally isolated. And that the human condition? Are we meant to be alone? Maybe that's the ultimate quest: is to um, transcend, transcend. That good, isn't it? So transcend. Oh, that brings me back that brings me back to my black book. Actually, I haven't looked at that in years. So much. I keep lots of notes throughout the years, but I haven't looked at the black book in years. I must whip that out again because I'm finding more and more that all the stuff, some of the stuff that's coming up now, stuff I talked about years ago. And I mentioned Nathan Oakley's show today, talking about the tree, the Norse mythology, and the tree of life, which is Yggdrasil, and the divided tree of life. Yeah, is it becoming more and more mainstream? It has to. Aristarchus is revealed. Now, when you look, you'll find it everywhere, from Tony Stark, Iron Man, FE Man, Flat Earth Man, to Elon Musk, who has this association with the character FE Man. And would you believe? Well, obviously, he sent his landers to Mars, Perseverance. But would you believe that they found? It's not my first-hand information now, but this is from IPS's channel, and apparently it's official that they found the House of Stark emblem, the family emblem on Mars. Isn't that fucking hilarious? Just in, like, remember the face on Mars or the rodent on Mars? So apparently you have this House of Stark, which is a wolf as well, by the way. And so my minimum research, a wolf, like a raven, is viewed to be divine in Norse mythology, and a raven is a psychopath. So it's a guide to the spirit world. After we leave the physical body, then the raven or the wolf, they become this guide to take you onwards and, well, wherever. So, yeah, isn't that interesting? But to find it's this insignia, this imprint on Mars, and associated with the House of Stark from the Game of Thrones family crest. Well, isn't that funny enough? The House of Stark, R.I. Stark House, R.I. Stark House, right? It's all it's too blatant. It's almost too blatant. It's too blatant. How many times I've gone into the clues provided by the Beatles with Paul McCartney being the dodo and his bandmates, George Harrison and Ringo Starr, or Richard Starkey. Richard Starkey. But it's meaningless unless you have the context again. And once again, Flat Earth provided that context. What does it mean to me in my life? Can you make you any happier to know all of this sort of stuff? Yeah, well, of course it can. To know there's a greater game in play, and as I say, resolution was always on the table. Now, to what degree, that remains to be seen. I think nothing but the truth will do. And yeah, how long must we wait? How long must we wait? The biblical 7 days. I always thought 7 was unlucky. It's lucky for some, but then, well, yeah. Let me share my screen here. Actually, look first. I must have left. I must have. Sorry about that. I must have left the screen. I wanted to just, yeah, just to bring to focus as well. Anyone who's interested, this is still a ongoing thing. I'm hoping to have it solved by definitely the 21st. I think that's a very important date. So I have to have it solved by then. But let me. Am I sharing my screen? No. Let me share my screen. Okay. Oh yeah, I had it up already. So oh yeah, so yeah, you've seen this before, but yeah, work in progress. And talking about the sevens, of course, the lucky sevens. I guess what does it mean to be lucky in a sense? But yeah, this is what we. What is it? The eighth now? So another 13 days. Is it the eighth? It's just gone the ninth. 12 days. Hey, that's funny. So we have 12 at the back. 12 days to solve this. I think this will be the final puzzle then. I think I have the answer already, I'm sure, but I just have to find the pathway. Yeah, where does it lead us? Well, look, you can see the ball earth here to begin with. So this is the one-armed bandit, the HH, the hidden hand. So this is the final puzzle. This connects everything, as far as I'm concerned. And the solution will be elegant and will be cogent, will be direct, it will be indisputable within a certain context. And let me just put it down to proper size here, or to manageable size. That's the whole of the offering there. I think another thing that will come into great consideration for me is, well, the colors of the rainbow. We have the green. Well, I just mentioned about the green hue to this consistent green hue to the sky. That's a permanent fixture for the night sky. That is, the energies themselves have to be there throughout, right? We just don't perceive them during the brightness of the day. But yeah, green, evergreen. Yeah, green is prominent all around, and I bet you've been yourself, whoever's listening now, you've been hearing more, or seeing more, or just experiencing more and more green. Well, in your daily life. But yeah, I think ultimately this is what it culminates in. This is the sort of the puzzle, the final layer, the final boss, the final boss. And I don't say that lightly as well. The solution to the 2015, which was 6 years, which is 3 and 3 years prior to that, was that's you can't get more significant than that in terms of what it represents. And I'm talking in the history of science, in the history of reality, because this is all about the decoding of the nature of our reality. So yeah, I place this above that, because when I saw the 2015 one, I knew the solution beforehand, and I knew that the dodo and Mauritius wasn't the end of the story. And of course, that the Dodo Mauritius led to, well, how many times have I spoken about the earth being destroyed by fire, the tree of life being felled, and well, here we have a burning tree right next to the ball earth here. So I mean, in potential anyway, you admit that yeah, there is fuel to this. Once again, I started this off from the last time. I haven't moved. So I'll tell you, I haven't thought about too much. I'm not rushing anything. I don't rush anything like that because, I mean, when something comes, when it clicks, it'll click. But we're encouraged to insert stimulus funds here. So we put the money and we pull the handle, and well, we hope that whatever we're looking for will land on the pay line. Well, this is a stimulus sort of funding graph, so everything is moving upwards. You see from a lower base point, and we also see a what do you call it, an arrow at the front. So you can see the arrow at the top. So it seems that if this comes down onto the pay line, right? If we move it down into the central position, because there's a fixed relationship between, so we have four separate dials, but each dial contains the same set of symbols, as we can see here. Look, this, what are we going to call that? Little corona, little corona bug, and this one up here are yeah, obviously part of the same thing. And this question mark here, and this sort of trail end of it here are obviously part of the same thing as well. So we got to work out the rest, count up the number of symbols, and this is a quaver symbol, a musical note, which is an eighth, which is perfect. It's an eighth of a beat, and yeah. So we got to work out the order, and that's easy enough done as well. So if we go from here, which is ultimately here, so we want to find out what's beneath here. So we can go the needle, the baby with the mask, the question mark. So the question mark continues on up here. We have to assume that all of the reals are equivalent. So there's only one possible order. So as we move from the question mark, then we have the dollar symbol. Then we have, what are you going to call it, a windmill? Then we have the map or the flag of China, and then we have the this bomb or this danger toxic bomb symbol. Then we take it, this is Joe Biden. Then it's the broken and torn American flag, the stars and stripes, the America, Americar, Americar. Mount Meru is Aristarchus, which is the divided tree of life, which is Earth itself. We live on the stump surface of the divided tree of life. This side, the tree is intact. The other side, as best as I, can tell. So we have this divided nature, and we have at the very center here, we have a giant massive hollow, a giant massive whirlpool. And what's going on then at the center is we have a protrusion from the other side where the tree is intact, a root looking for purchase. And it's this that's doing all the movement, all the sloshing around, which gives us the tides, which gives us the ultimately the barrier. It sets the divide, the broken barriers, right? And it also gives us all of the skylights. It's Aristarchus reflecting. And when you think about it, it's, look, we, not to put it bluntly, if you think about it, what's going on there, if you followed me in my picture, we have the penis sticking through the other side, the extended penis sticking out where it shouldn't be. And then we have, well, the vagina Earth at the north center here. And this is why we live on countries, right? Countries. So, yeah, once again, everything, all language, all symbol, all pictures, all represent, all artifice. That's a better way of putting it. All artifice is a tool for you, because you're always meant to figure this stuff out, because it is your story. It is your story, and yeah. Well, generally, your story has a culmination, and well, the time is rife. The time is right, I should think. 2021, 420. 42 represents division. 420, because we multiply by 10, was God's gift to man. Here we are in, well, as I say, the 21st year. So all the sevens, the 21st, 777, blackjack. Ace is 1 or 11 of the 21st century, which is 777 as well. And here we are, the 21st of June coming up anyway, which is the summer solstice. So what better time to overtly celebrate the transformation than that? Because the polar opposite of 21st of June, and then 3 days later, by the way, 3 days. So if you think about the 21st, as I mentioned, 21st of December, which was the conjunction of Saturn. So I say Saturn's been overtaken now, and there's energies, the vibes, the story attached to Jupiter, which I haven't even looked into, Maybe you're anyone in chat there. What does Jupiter scream at you? What's your best? Is Jupiter Father Time? Is that Jupiter, the eater of children? Jupiter or Saturn? Anyway, Jupiter is after coming to the fore, and Stanley Kubrick as well, when he replaced Saturn with Jupiter in 2001, A Space Odyssey, he knew what he was doing. Well, he knew what he was doing. So here we are entering a new age. So all of the energies and all of the attributes associated with Jupiter, Jupiter, Peter. And that reminds me of one of Stephen's toys. He had three toys, a stuffed monkey. Noel gave him the stuffed monkey, and his name was George. He was an ever-present part of the family, I guess. And I had the, what do you call it, the honorable role of being George's, I guess, mouthpiece. So he spoke through me, and I guess I formulated his personality to a big degree as well. But he was a cheeky monkey, so he always, he was always looking out for mischief, and he spoke with a lisp, and he spoke like this. And later on, a little bit later on, I don't know if Steve was 2 or 3 or whatever, Gunter arrived, a little stuffed toy dog, but he was the more sort of tender, gentle type. He was a war torn, but him and George had a history together, and he was like the scapegoat for George. So that character developed as well, and of course Gunter loved George, and he didn't mind taking the blame. But Steve knew it then. Whenever George blamed Gunter when something went awry, Steve knew it, and he gave out he gave out to George. But then Juju arrived, so that's where I got there. Jupiter. Juju was the wise bear. He was the latest addition, the last addition to the trio. So he had his own developed character as well. And once again, PJ providing the dad here providing the character. It's the whole character. Each little toy had its own character, and Juju was when Juju put his foot down, he spoke sense, and he always spoke with sort of authority and wisdom as well. But generally, he sort of stayed out of the schemes of George and the setups of Gunther. But I wonder what Jupiter really brings. Do I wonder so much that I've looked it up? No, I haven't done that, but maybe I will. But when it comes to what I have presented on screen here, I think the story is told here through this. And we're already coming in on the right, knowing that the spinning ball Earth is a metaphor. It's a metaphor for the truth, pretty much all aspects of our reality. I was thinking about the word realm, REALM. I'm thinking about the letter M, capital letter M, and how it's the sort of collapsed A. So you take the A, capital A, and you pull it down at the center, and it transforms into an M. And of course, we have the name for God from the Bible, trusted literist source. Is I am. So we can see when we think in terms of, what I am myself, which is man, why the M takes a predominance, because the M represents, a divided state, right? A divided aspect, right? So an aspect. And this is the distinction. So along these lines, we're working. And you can understand how few, as far as I know, the last 2015 puzzle, I don't know anyone on Earth who on Earth, I'm serious, on Earth, and that it's definitively the answer. There's absolutely no question that it's definitively hidden, this puzzle hidden within the greater cartoon animation. That's beyond dispute as well. So that's the significance of all of this. And again, these are magazines that are front and center in terms of meta-scriptural offerings. So, yeah, all very influential. And well, look, the puzzle is laid bare for all of us. I will encourage everybody to continue to. I will encourage everybody to continue to just ponder it. Don't, you know, don't force anything. But I wish you luck at the same time. I wish you luck at the same time, because if the context isn't right, and considering how far we've come, 2021, oh my goodness, I definitely didn't think I'd be alive by this time. Or if I was alive, that everything would have transformed. But we can see illumination at the bottom here. Look, see it? This is our ultimate goal. We are on top. We're at the stump surface at top. Heaven is below us. Above us is hell, and it's cold. And it's cold. So once we understand that everything in life is inverted, at least when it comes to the greater offerings, and it's all a series and a set of clues, ultimately leading back to yourself. So yeah, the idea being here, if we move this down to the, what do you call it, just as a starter idea, if we line up these arrows, if we insert stimulus funds, we move this down. Once we have the relationship between the other symbols on each reel, then we can move every other reel down a similar fashion. It's not going to be that easy, but that's the idea. So if we move this down one and two places, then if we move this down one and two places, this baby here will appear here along the red line, and etc. But that's just an idea. I think we got to get over here. See the way you notice the difference of colors here. This is sort of yellowing, and we're getting towards green over here. It's that sort of a journey across. But when it comes, so we go down, up, maybe whatever, zigzag across once we have the pay line sorted, and we'd understand that we have to come down here, and then we have illumination at the bottom. That's what I think, and darkness above. So once again, the colors of the rainbow, very, very possibly playing a significant role in all of this. But why I brought you back here, how many people are going to be interested in that, right? Many people are going to be interested in that. But yet, it's a live puzzle, and I reckon, yeah. So it's the 9th today to the 19th. There's 12 days, okay? 12 days. I'll make serious note of the deadline, and encourage you yourself, if you've been paying attention, to put some effort that way. Because remember, how far you can't bring anything new into existence. The truth is already known. It's already known. So the best you can do, in a sense, is come to terms with your own sort of version, your own understanding, your own formulations into that sort of greater truth. But yet, when we see that everything is already pre-scripted as well, we look at offerings like this, and we can see them in perhaps their true light, their true significance. And the great game of life is, it's almost wrapping up, I should think. Life as we know it anyway. But how far away are we from it? I've been expecting it every day for the last 7 years. Now, the more I think about it, the 21st, 25th of June, which is the half a year opposite the 21st to the 25th of December, when Christ was born, the Son of Man was born. Remember, the Son is of an unnatural outcome. It's an effect of a cause that is unnatural. It's not probably the right word there, but yeah, it's not the way everything was created. But it is the way it is for certain specific reasons. And this is getting to the heart of matters right here. Everything's encoded. It's not just a silly cartoon that it's a filler space. No. I say I'm still of the mind, this is where it all culminates, especially for me anyway. Especially for me, who seemingly has been following puzzles that no one else has, or so few other people have been following, but only seemingly, I say that. So, yeah. Nice one, Emerald Rider. I mean, look, um, maybe we'll put some more time. I'm not going to stay on too much longer, like, but yeah, definitely all of these different ideas. I think again, the solution has to be elegant, simple, and coherent within the greater context as well. I mean, we're entering from the right, knowing that the Earth is not a spinning ball is given. So that automatically, the simple piece of information rules out the vast majority of the populace of Earth in terms of being able to come to terms with the greater pathway here that may be presented to us. But yeah, the flag divided. Yeah, America. Well, yeah, I'm not going to get too deep into that, but I've been talking about America. I told you what I think the answer would be is Aristarchus. Dodo was the answer to the second one. The first one, the 2016. Once again, the 2015, sorry, Economist cover was about Alice in Wonderland. 2018 is about Alice through Looking Glass because we have the chessboard, and once again, Alice is clearly represented overtly on the 2015 cover. But also, yeah, Alice through Looking Glass is the chessboard cover where there's one square missing. 63 pieces, board, yeah, 64 8 by 8 chessboard, and the starting point would be Donald Trump as well. He's also associated with Biff Tannen and Back to the Future, 88 miles per hour. But yeah, this one then, the 2021 has to be, it has to be, it has to be, it has to, and the Wasp in the Week has to be the most significant chapter of any book written ever, because it's a discarded chapter from Alice in Wonderland, Alice Through the Looking Glass specifically. So that would be in my mind as well. But I understand that you won't be thinking, I may necessarily be thinking along the same lines as I am. But, all of these different clues, it's a live puzzle, as I said. I don't have the pathway yet. So all of these different clues offered, all of these different insights from an individual, we could all sort of help one another, and, who knows where the solution might lead. Illumination, right? Okay. Oh yeah, that's an interesting question. What do you reckon, Emerald Rider 007? Remember Zeiss, the character? Zeiss, all these different characters throughout the years, and they're still active. But and he's been on my channel actually, but 5 or 6 shows ago. Fair play to him. And I should have asked him about his 007. What do you call it? Avatar, I guess. But yeah, what do you reckon? 007, yeah, James Bond. What do you reckon that signifies? I don't want to get too deep into that now, but you notice the similarity in structure between the 7 and the J, first of all, in terms of alphabetic and numerological connections. G is the 7th letter, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Whereas, wouldn't it be more suitable if G was 6? You could understand better if that was the association. But yeah, I'm not going to get into that. I'm not going to stay on for too much longer now. As I said, the time here is limited, and it doesn't renew until the 20th, which is the day before the 21st. But yeah, otherwise, what are you supposed to do? What are you supposed to do? We're on our own in this one to a greater or lesser degree. For me, there's two possibilities. Resolution is assured, and always has been, or the slavery continues just under a different. There will be disclosure, but it will be a limited disclosure, and the slavery will continue under just a different guise, which I can't see how that would wash. I really can't see that at all. I say Eden has come to us, and we're in these transformative times, which were always penciled in for sort of realization. Doesn't matter what shape the earth is, doesn't matter, not really. It just sort of helps the individual come to terms with your greater understanding. As long as you've painted some sort of a picture and you have a justifiable pathway and you understand the context, you understand the greater script as well, and you understand that all you can ever do is follow the clues once you get to this level of, endeavor. Yeah, a tip for everybody is like anything that's easy, anything that's easy, it's too easy. It was designed that way. It was inserted to be transparent, so that it would help you on to the next step. And well, don't tread lightly anyway. That's what I'd say, because it'll take you further and further away from your perceived and accepted reality. But luckily, this is what Corona seems seemingly having an effect. I meant to say actually, yeah, there's all these travellers again for football. It's only a friendly game as well. It's nothing to be gained really, just an exercise for the lads. And I think it ended in a 0-0 draw. Not that I'm interested anymore. But there was no, what do you call it? No restrictions, seemingly, no masks, no separation of people anymore. So Corona's gone by the wayside, or at least they've got a nice little handle on it anyway. Yeah, that makes me look like a right dodo. Then where the fuck do I fit in all of this? Yeah, well, it seems I'm the enemy everywhere. Not that I'm the enemy everywhere, but jeez, I have difficulty everywhere. In one form, in another form. Although I haven't said that, I was in busking today, and I swear to you, it made my day. I mean, there was a woman, and she was in, what do you call it? There's sort of, yeah, I guess Eastern country garb, maybe Muslim or something like that. But her children, there's four children around her, so she didn't pay me any attention. But the children couldn't get enough. They're just, what do you call it? I guess so surprised at seeing somebody playing guitar and singing as well. But they were gorgeous. They constantly kept smiling and sort of greeting me as they kept walking up, and I just had to keep like saying hello because it was so gorgeous. But that made my day. But everything is seemingly opened up. The country is opened up as well with limited restrictions, and it's like a fucking dream world. I don't know. It's like a dream world, and it's harder and harder to even talk to people anyway. Everyone's so caught up in it, and if they're not caught up in it, they're caught up in wow, the immediate pressures of just existing. So, and of course, that can be a killer in itself. So, yeah. Anyway, we're either saved or we're doomed. That's all I can say about that. And if we're doomed, an outlet has been provided. I don't like to think of that outlet, which is an escape route. So we can go up underneath the barrier at the north and then come out, uh, or not, or not, or just learn to live with it. Live a life of deception, knowing that you and your loved ones and your fellow man were all being deceived by some greater power, evil power, if you will. So I don't know how you cope with that. I don't know how I don't know how I would live tomorrow, knowing to trying to accept that. Like, I don't know how I could do that. I don't know how I'd build a plan or a life or build anything around sort of fitting in with that certain and sure knowledge and just leading out my days that way. So I can't see that being the path for me. But luckily, I think we're all saved anyway, and Eden has come to us, and it's manifesting in other ways, slowly but surely. Everything has to pass away. But yeah, and once again, I probably should stop talking, and I'm sort of close anyway to yeah. There's no well, there doesn't there's no point anymore. You know what I mean? It's all sort of wrapping up. It's all wrapping up. So let it wrap up in one way or another. I should think. Yeah. On that note, I'd say sorry if I missed anyone. Connor G. Let me just go through Connor G. How you doing? I haven't seen you here before, I don't think. Game of Thrones. They have the name with many faces. Okay, I haven't even paid. Okay, very good. I haven't even paid much attention. I'm a ship researcher like that. Game of Thrones. Arya Stark is one of the chief protagonists. Arya Stark. R.I. Stark. The name with many faces. The actor who plays Arya Stark seems to be transgender as well. So again, a greater message. But that connection between the House of Stark and Elon Musk and well, the face found in Mars, which resembled the family wolf motto. Yeah, this is all just scripted out. This is scripted out. First of all, we know that Mars, all these skylights are just exactly that. They're reflections. Not exactly that. They are skylights there, but they are ultimately reflections. And ultimately we get to see these reflections through the watery atmosphere. It's water everywhere. When you get beyond it a certain point, according to how we see, the energies are still there, right? But according to how we see, how our eyes work, well, they will always tend to diminish. That's why as you rise higher, you should expect on YouTube to find many captions of the wonderful, beautiful moon, right, in its full and glorious form, as the altitude balloon or whatever rises higher and higher, does away with the interfering atmosphere and gets a full view of this body being lit by the sun. You won't find one, not one, not one. But you'll find plenty of where the moon shrinks to a tiny dot. You'll find plenty where the stars go out, right? So yeah, we're looking at well, anyway, that's a different reality. Very few people are talking about a mirror sky. Very few people are talking about an unnatural nature to Earth itself, our home, right? And well, the broken and divided state of us, male torn from female, self from self. That's what all the longing is about. That's what all the lacking is about. Because intrinsically we know we're in this divided form. As the male, the insides are pulled out, right? And as the female, there's that divide and that lacking, that vacation left. And in a sense, this is what Earth reflects. So here we are at the stump side where we have the big hollow, Mother Earth, right? The big hollow representing the vagina. The other side, then, the tree is intact and the root is sticking true, but there's no purchase. So it's fucking one going around like a donkey, like a donkey dick. Excuse my language, but you know what I mean. So yeah, it's this movement that's generating all of our experience here. That's what I've spoken about this before as well years ago, and now I think I was close on the mark. I didn't know probably exactly why. I was sort of speaking from instinct, my impressions as I was looking at Aristarchus and how much it reminded of the sperm and the egg. But now, yeah, in this greater sense, yeah, so yeah, and my suspicions are still that Seth MacFarlane plays Elon Musk, and a connection between Seth MacFarlane and Elon Musk, or more particularly this House of Stark, in 2014, A Million Ways to Die in the West. Seth MacFarlane played the role of one Albert Stark, whose wife was Elsa Stark, which is reflective of Albert Einstein and his wife Elsa Einstein. So that's a connection between Seth MacFarlane, and there's many other connections as well. Would it be too much to consider even that Seth MacFarlane has always played the role? Not for me. Not for me. I haven't delved too deeply into it as well. I'm happy enough to think that even if it's not true, someone else is playing the role, but Seth MacFarlane seems perfect anyway. And once again, I'm of the mindset that we're always meant to figure this stuff out as we move forward, as we come closer and closer to complete revelation, revealing. Yeah, I have a feeling within the revealing, or with the revealing, that all will turn out to be much simpler than we ever would have imagined. We've been immersed completely, our minds have been immersed completely in the ultimate complexity, or the seeming complexity of the greater nature of life, the universe, and everything. Yeah, I think we find it's not too difficult after all, but most especially when we find out, well, that our own true natures transcend any of this experience we're having here into division. So yeah, yeah, I'll consider all these things. Yeah, consider all these things more yourselves. 3721, only 21 million. Oh, is that all, man? Oh, Connor G, nice piece of info there. 21 million Bitcoin. So there's a certain number of Bitcoin in existence, and everyone has to sort of, vie for them or swap and trade them around. I'm not sure how that works at all. The term itself, Bitcoin, is very interesting. BIT, Holy Spirit. Remember, everything is in relation to the H and the O. When you bring the two divided aspects of the H together and you raise the crossbar, you get the capital T. So once again, we think of the divide. We have to think in terms of the divided state of us, which is male from female and self from self in that spiraling fashion down the spine. We bridge those gaps. Well, yeah, that's where religion comes into it, I guess. Okay, that's interesting. Now, 21 million Bitcoin. Yeah, 7 Up, 7 Up. Yeah, that's an old one. And funny enough, as well, in code Dodo, L has a value of 7. So that's almost perfect, isn't it? Almost too perfect. A is 1, B is 2, C is 3, D is 4, E is 5, F is 6, G is 7, H is 8, I is 9, J is also 9 because it's a late addition and it's only between 1 and 9. 10 is beyond that then because that combines the 1 and the 0. But and also introduces the 0, but 10 is beyond that. But yeah, so J is 9, and then we go back down the ladder. K is 8, L is 7, M is 6, N is 5, which is perfect as well. The N being 5, the N and the E, which is half of 10. Um, what was that? And O is 4, P is 3, Q is 2, R is 1, S is 2, back up again, T is 3, U is 4, V is 5, W is 6, X is 7, Y is 8, uh, and Z is 9. So lovely, sort of neat package it all fits into. But the L being the 7 is very interesting when we upheave it. L and R. If you look at the letter R, the lowercase, and then we have the letter L, L and R, Eleanor Rigby. But yeah, all clues for us. And once again, it's all about our superstructure. First of all, the spine down the center, and it's the vision. This is what is being told throughout. And yeah, the 7 vices and the 7 virtues. I know I'm going back a good bit now. But yeah, I didn't want to think too much about this, but ultimately, I just leave you with the you know, this is your story being told. This is your story being played out. I don't pay any. I wouldn't advise to pay any too much attention to any of the political sagas playing out because they're only going to become more and more obnoxious and more sort of dramatic, and ultimately, what they become so farcical that everyone just goes, "Get the fuck!" I don't even turn off, burn their televisions or something, and then whatever has to happen will happen, just as planned, just as we were said and led all the way to these different actions and different thoughts. So yeah, listen, I'm going to go on that note. I'm not going to even play a song or anything. I'm just going to say good night and thank you for tuning in. I probably have about 2 hours left for, yeah, probably just about 2 hours left for the last hangout before the 21st. So once again, yeah, I would encourage you to, what do you call it? Have a look at, and if you leave comments in the chat for this one, if you want to just have a look at the 2021 Economist cover and say what you see, say what occurs to you because that's your puzzle as just everybody as much as it's my puzzle as well. So okay, on that note, my friends, thanks for tuning in and oh well to all. I love you, my Steve.